The fallen angel, the town of Ravensbrook, knew fear like no other. It lingered in its streets, in its shadows, and most of all in the old, abandoned cathedral that crouched atop Blackstone Hill. The cathedral had stood there for centuries, whispering tales of the fallen angel to those brave enough to listen. The legend was simple yet horrifying. A celestial angel, cast from heaven for betraying the divine, was chained beneath the cathedral. Anyone foolish enough to enter would find themselves face to face with the angel, condemned to a horrifying fate. Despite the warnings, four thrill-seeking friends decided to visit the cathedral on Halloween night. There was Cora, fearless and skeptical; Ryan, who'd had a thing for Cora since childhood; Amy, the eternal skeptic; and Lucas, who clutched a camcorder, desperate to capture something real. The front doors groaned as they pushed them open, revealing the decaying darkness inside. The air was thick and rank, filled with the smell of mold and something more foul. The stained glass windows loomed, their angels broken and twisted, almost seeming to glare at them in judgment. "What's that smell?" Amy asked, covering her nose. "Just a rotting building," Cora replied, but her voice was softer, edged with unease. As they explored, they found a narrow staircase leading down, each step cloaked in cobwebs and grime. At the bottom, the stench grew stronger, thick and choking. Lucas's camcorder light fell on a small iron door set into the wall, engraved with symbols that looked like they were drawn in blood. Ryan gave a low whistle. "Looks like we found the angel's cell." With a smirk, Cora reached for the door, ignoring Lucas's plea to think twice. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, damp chamber. There, at the center, was a figure chained to the floor, its body twisted and wings mangled, feathers drenched in what looked like black sludge. The fallen angel. Its face was a mixture of beauty and horror, angelic features now grotesque, its eyes hollow yet somehow burning with rage and hunger. The creature looked up, sensing them, and a malicious grin stretched across its cracked lips. The chains began to rattle. Cora laughed, though it sounded forced. "Guess the angel's fallen, huh?" The angel's head snapped to her, and Cora staggered back, clutching her throat, her laughter turning into a strangled gasp. Her eyes bulged as her skin began to peel, slowly, agonizingly, layer by layer, as though an invisible force was flaying her alive. Blood poured down her body in sickening waves as her screams filled the chamber. Ryan grabbed her, trying to pull her back, but as his fingers touched her bloody skin, they fused, locking him in place. He screamed as the angel's chains creaked and one wing unfurled, extending toward them. Black, oozing feathers touched Ryan's face, and he felt his skin blister and melt away under its touch, his eyeballs turning to liquid and dripping down his cheeks. Amy shrieked, stumbling backward, her foot slipping on the blood-slick floor. She fell, hitting her head, and her vision blurred. She watched in horror as Lucas, frozen with terror, raised his camcorder, still recording as if hypnotized by the horror unfolding before him. The angel's gaze fell upon Lucas next, and his eyes glazed over, trapped, as the angel whispered ancient, forbidden words. Lucas's skin began to twist and contort, his limbs bending backward with sickening snaps until he was no longer human, his face a mask of agony, frozen in eternal terror. Amy, barely conscious, crawled toward the stairs, her vision dimming. As she looked back one last time, she saw the angel standing tall, free of its chains, its twisted wings stretching out as if to welcome her to its domain. Her last thought was the faint sound of footsteps behind her. But it wasn't the angels. The church was alive with the shadows of her friends, their broken bodies moving, eyes hollow, marching toward her to join the damned in the angels' eternal darkness. In the morning, Ravensbrook woke to silence from Blackstone Hill. No one saw the friends again, but on dark, mist-filled night, townsfolk claimed to hear screams drifting from the hill, echoes of the fallen angel's latest prey.